What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ally in Hand. We're taking a look at Fallout 4 after the next gen update here on the ROG Ally. We'll take a look at some different wattage, a couple of different settings, resolution, and get a general idea in a pretty quick video here of how performance is looking. Now, as far as settings, you got to do this before you get into the game, and we're going to bounce between ultra and medium, so we get worst case and middle of the road. We'll also take a look at some different wattage, so we are going to mostly focus on 25 watts once we get past this part of the video. So anyways, 20 watts, 1080p ultra, 4 gigs of VRAM here, running on the Ally for Fallout 4. And ultimately, you could most certainly get away with some settings like this, especially if you're plugged in or running higher wattage, which we'll take a look at. But there's plenty of areas you're going to still dip under 30 FPS if you're running this way at 1080p. So that's something to be aware of as you get into it. And as far as those wattages, so 20, 25, and 30, there's a difference when you start going under 25. 20 and especially 15 gets pretty rough, so 20 and up, but you do start to go under the 30 FPS at 20. But 25 and 30, you'll notice, stay a little bit higher, but they're also almost identical. There's not a lot to be gained when you go from 25 watt handheld to 30 watt docked. It's not a real big difference, if any, most of the time, and that's something to keep in mind when you're working on settings and battery. But where we do gain is settings, so something like ultra to medium is going to gain you a lot more than that wattage is, and it's going to help us out as well. But even more than that, the resolution combined with that, so 720p ultra and 720p medium here, you can obviously get a lot more performance that way. So more than the wattage, you really want to focus on the resolution and settings you want to go for to get the frame rate you might be targeting between 30, 40, 60 or higher. When it comes to other areas of the game, of course, performance is going to kind of be all over the place, but for testing, it was pretty consistent when I would run up against the 1080p ultra and mediums that I was doing at 25 watts and the 720p ultra or ultra and medium with that. Ultimately, for me, I think unless I'm just playing docked on a 1080p or higher monitor where I don't want it to be blurry, I would be using 720p if I'm playing handheld. 900p is fine, but I don't get enough of a gain from that. Just mostly 720p, and as you can see here, just ultimately benefits me a lot more, especially in handheld mode. I can also lock the frame rate lower, I can save some battery, we could even come down to 20 watts at 720p and do okay with all of that. But at 1080p, you're going to need that 25 to do a little bit better, and probably would only run that if I was docked. But yeah, you can see here performance ultimately though for Fallout 4 is running really well on the ROG Ally. There have been some hiccups and some problems along the way with this update for sure, but it has been running okay here for the most part. So just really depending on what you want to get out of this game. Like I said, 20 watts or up is really where you're going to want to be at with this thing, but if you're running too high, 25 or up really, because you do start to lose FPS, but anything above 25 isn't helping all that much here. But if you go down to 720p ultra, or even better if you want to maintain a higher frame rate, though this game can get a little odd above 60 FPS on PC at times with the issues it's had, you can certainly pull a lot more out of it that way as well. Again, you have lower settings than this as well. You've got things you can put into high, and I think this video might give you enough of an idea to kind of target what you might want to pull out of the game. Alright guys, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video. As always, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.